Because all I'm really trying to do for the world is what my mom did for me, which is create a level of accountable, practical optimism and joy and love, not at the expense of merit.
Gary V on DXB Today with us here in Dubai. Gary, an honor to have you back. I feel like this is like your second home now. You're always here. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. Thank you for that warm welcome, and I'm excited to be together as well.
Well, you know what? So much has changed in Dubai since you were even last here. Things are moving at such a fast pace. I want to know from you in terms of an entrepreneurial space. So many more people are heading over here. The laws are adjusting to even get more people over here. How are we feeling this space is doing in Dubai, and where do we see it going, and why should other countries take note?
That last part really has my attention. You know, I think the answer to that question is forget about opinions or observations. The data is very clear. The country's exploding. The reason other countries should pay attention is, my point of view is, Dubai is replicating something that worked for America 100 years ago, which is if you make it conducive for the A players of the world to come somewhere, they will go. Period, end of story. And you know, I think there's a really interesting observation of like, how does the world actually work? I would argue the world works based on talent. Which places have the most human capital? And I think America's immigration laws for 100 years and capitalistic structure created its empire. And I think what Dubai's been doing for the last 25, 30 years is very clear to me. It's doing a modern version of that. You've got to do it thoughtfully, you've got to do it at a proper pace, but it's been a leader in the region. And I will actually argue that when we look back at Dubai and what it's done over these 25 years, in 100 years, we will understand that Dubai, at the center, Dubai changed the outcome of the entire Middle East. I really believe that. And I think it's already clear as you see other countries adjust to what I would call a Dubai framework, their versions of it. And I think it's wonderful, and I think it's brought a lot of the best and the brightest. And you know, I'm incredibly bullish of what happens here for the next 50 years, and I would equally be bullish on literally any one of the countries in the world if they took on very similar policies. Easy to say, it's hard. You know, one of the great advantages of Dubai is its youth. Like a startup, it's just young. Europe, Africa, the US, other places, they have a lot of baggage of what's been done before. But you know, I stay optimistic about the human spirit, and I'm excited by it, and I commend it, and I'm excited to see it evolve.
And let's dig into that human spirit, because you know, everyone talks about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. We're still in that conversation, I think, and people are still recovering economically and personally. There's been a massive shift since. What has been the biggest shift for you since, on a personal level?
On a personal level, I think I've been more strategic with time, which has been a journey I've been on for 20 years. Every year I've gotten better. I'm up to 3 full-time admins and 2 chief of staffs. So there's 5 human beings on earth whose full-time job is to manage my time. I am grateful that I'm able to spend more time in places like Dubai that I want to be, because I'm not traveling to places where I don't need to be. Because I used to have to go to Chicago or San Francisco or London for one meeting. That meeting is now being done on Zoom or Google Hangout. That's saving me sleep, it's saving me energy, it's saving me family time, which I'm able to then redirect and deploy. You know, the first 3 or so times I came to Dubai, I came in the morning and left on the evening flight, because every minute was being fought for. Now I can spend 2 or 3 days, and so the biggest change for me is using Zoom and video technology to maximize time, and I'm happy about that.
Now, one thing you spoke about on stage is how communication is possibly the greatest thing that you can master. I personally believe your voice is your greatest asset. For someone like you, you're a voice, there are so many. Did you have a moment in your life, in your career, where you found your voice? How did you discover it, and how did you know how to use it?
That's a great question. I'll go backwards. I knew how to use it because all I'm really trying to do for the world is what my mom did for me, which is create a level of accountable, practical optimism and joy and love, not at the expense of merit. So I'll let everybody re-listen to that sentence a couple times because it really matters. So it was easy for me to figure out what I wanted to do with my voice. As far as how I created it or structured it, or more importantly protected it, one of the things that's really interesting about me in hindsight is how little I listen to other voices. I think one of the ways I found my voice was by really owning my voice, because I wasn't spending time listening to other voices. My voice has been developed in the trenches of interacting with lots of people. Baseball card shows, a retail liquor store, social media. And so I argue that a lot of people listening or watching should spend less time listening to me and others and spending more time listening to lots of humans, listening to themselves. And so I'm very proud of how I've developed my voice. It came out of a deeply empathetic and deeply sympathetic and deeply motivated for value for others place, and I think that's why it's resonating.
And listening comes hand in hand with using the voice. I speak at a lot of schools, and one question I always get from the kids is confidence. How important, I mean, you speak about this all the time in terms of what parents need to do, what teachers need to do, what mentors need to do in order to give that foundation of confidence and self-esteem to a young individual. Could you share with us your thoughts on this?
I think the institutions of parenting, the institutions of school have been built, and in their modern versions lead to insecurity, not confidence. I think parents over-coddle children too much. I think we've demonized losing, and so kids think losing is bad when losing is great. I think schools are broken, I really do. I think that the education system overvalues conformity, it overvalues memorization in a world where information's at a fingertip. And so there's no surprise to me that we're living in an anxious world. The last 30 years have not been good to the kids growing up. On the flip side, kids need to learn accountability. Everybody grew up with adversity. I didn't grow up in a bunch of roses and sunshine either. And we need to start championing accountability. I think confidence comes from accountability. If you're blaming everybody else, the world, society, your teachers, your teammates, you're never going to be confident because you've just given the power to everybody but yourself. So I think blaming goes hand in hand with the inability to have confidence. Because I believe that everything is my fault is why I'm so confident. And so I think it's a reverse game of the way the world has it, and I think we have to fight for a change in the conversation.
Okay, last question for you, Gary. Last time I sat down with you, I asked you what's next, and you said, it's not what's next, it's what's now, and that was TikTok about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
What are we thinking now?
Just an evolution of that. Like, I think the TikTokification of every platform, we now don't live in the social graph world. We live in the interest graph. It's no longer get as many people to follow you as possible so then you post something, they see it. Now, somebody with 5 followers can post the most important piece of content on social media because the algorithm will take it and make it run because people showed that they were interested in it. So I would say the now is the interest graph, not the social graph, and that's something people have to adjust to, and that's what I spent the first 25 minutes talking about today, if people understood what I was talking about, and so that's what I want people to focus on.
Amazing. Gary V, thank you so much for your time. Thank you once again.
Cheers.
So we run an agency in Dubai. I'm a college dropout, 25 years old, and we help brands go viral on TikTok. And one of the biggest challenges that we've been facing is convincing the Middle Eastern marketing managers, CEOs, to get on this bandwagon. We've got Sephora, Brands for Less, some big people already with us. We understand the algorithm, and I feel like the Middle East is still where, how you explain, the internet was for people in the 1990s with TikTok.
Good news, so is the US.
So we're doing 50 brands a month right now. We've got our company, we've got a young team of 17, 18 years old, editing and shooting content for these people. And you said 15 to 30 pieces of content a day. We're doing 20 pieces of content because we're trying to scale this business at the same time. Sorry, I'm just kind of nervous, this is so crazy. But yeah, so my question to you is, what is the life of such a business and how do you grow such a business where we're the brokers for the older generation for TikTok today?
Yeah, I get it.
How? We find ourselves stuck at some point.
You won't be stuck. You're just me and AJ 13 years ago, and we were the brokers for Twitter.
And we find ourselves creating content for these people, and just that same content works on Reels. I was listening to everyone's questions and how people are just, you said you need to figure out the content story, but is there a better way, or is there tools or tech?
The second you're in the convincing business versus the conviction business, you're vulnerable. In the same way that you're sitting and dwelling about convincing people, is I feel about you the same way you feel about people not knowing how to make content on TikTok.
Fair enough.
You're just wasting energy on dumb shit.
Yeah.
I don't spend time trying to convince people. And I'm capable of it. How the fuck are you doing it?
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Just have conviction in what you're doing and don't think the time's gonna run out. If you understand what you learned on TikTok, when the next thing comes out and it's called Raspberry, just do the same thing. That's all I do.
We're at a stage right now, we collect data on the algorithm from our clients.
Makes sense.
And we know that if 50 different industries do this type of content, it's gonna work for these people.
100%.
Yeah, and we're there. But like I sometimes feel like we're having the wrong conversation with our...
You're not having the wrong conversation, you're trying to convince people.
But the main mission right now is we're trying to scale it.
And we're stuck.
And we're not stuck, we're just too young to do it. We are, 2 years ago, me and this guy, we used to sell phones and sell all this stupid, we were broke.
Yeah,
And we just started it and it worked very
Like
well.
it boomed, and we didn't know how to handle that traffic.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I think what I would do is not dwell on what you're not doing well. I would focus on what you are doing well.
And I just quickly want to show that I used to make fun of you on TikTok. Exactly 1 year ago, and I used to pretend like you.
Wait, let him see this one.
I was 5.
And this blew up all over the States.
If you think about it, 2 plus 3 is not 5.
And people absolutely love this because of supply and demand. Because there's so much supply of your content
Of
motivating
course.
people. I came in with that, and then I copied that 6 months later, and both the videos take 19 million and 10 million. It was the same structure.
37.
100%.
She was 37.
Same shit, but
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Thank you so
Pat,
much.
focus on offense, not defense. That's what's happening. You're
Okay.
worried about what's not working. Just put all your energy into what's working. I promise.
okay.
It'll work itself out.